whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So upon further review, I've come to one major conclusion about last week's game offensively. The offense was terrible. There's no doubt about it, and there's no two ways about it. The offense was bad. The play calling wasn't great. The offensive line wasn't good. The receivers weren't good. The running backs weren't good. Nobody was good. But you know what? Alex Smith made it worse. Okay? That's my biggest takeaway from watching the film back. And I've already uploaded the first half of the game, which is really the only half you need to see because the second half is just abysmal. It's literally 3 and out, 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 and 3 and out. Okay? Literally the second half is 3 and outs in the third quarter, and I think 4 3 and outs in the fourth quarter. So it's bad. But I'm still going to try to get through as many plays offensively and upload it. I'm pretty much done at this point. I think I got one more 3 and out to take a look at before I had to shoot this video. So I've already come to a determination on how I feel about the game. Now, I thought the play calling was a C-, D+ at best. I don't think that Scott Turner did a imaginative job of putting guys in positions to be successful. There weren't a bunch of pick plays. There weren't, and credit the Rams. They really played a bunch of zone. I told you that Terry McLaurin wasn't guarded by Jalen Ramsey at all in this game. They didn't even waste their time. They either were blitzing or they were playing zone the entire game. I mean, there weren't many snaps where they got man-to-man looks. And so I don't think they did a good enough job of, when I say they, I'm talking about Scott Turner, doing a good enough job of getting some quick zone beaters. You know, there were some plays where at some point, maybe you came into the game with a game plan where you wanted to try to push the football vertically against the Giants. Maybe you wanted to try to, open up the offense a bit. He kind of talked about not opening up the offense, now that he's got someone that's more familiar and comfortable with the offense running it in Kyle Allen, but rather just, executing better and being more consistent. That's what he kept talking about on Wednesday during his presser. Well, I really think he did try to open it up a little bit. There are a lot of deep routes, and not to say that we weren't running deep routes earlier this season when Dwayne was under center, because we were, and you've seen the film, but at some point you have to make the adjustment that, look, the offensive line is struggling. Alex Smith is struggling. Let's shorten up what we're doing. Let's try to get it out of his hands quick. And, you may even have to help this, 15-year vet or whatever. You may have to tell him, hey, if we get zone here, go to Terry. Like, you may even have to be a little bit direct with him because Alex was struggling. He was out there, and he was kind of, I don't want to say he was scared. Because, the man's played football all his life. But he was out there, and his brain was racing, and you could tell. Everything was happening at warp speed in his head. The pressure was coming faster than what he imagined it would. He was going through his progressions way faster than he needed to. Everything that he did in this game was sped up times 10. And that includes the pressure. Sometimes it was there, other times it wasn't, but in his mind, everything was happening at warp speed. I don't blame him. So he didn't have a good game, and I didn't think that Scott Turner gave him something that he could sink his teeth into. Now, I cut Scott Turner some slack too because he didn't game plan for Alex Smith and his sped up clock to be in there all week long when Kyle Allen was taking all the first team reps. That's not what he set aside for his game plan. Things change when you get a different quarterback in there. You got to be able to adjust on the fly, but he's never worked with Alex Smith. And I don't know if he really got the concept of captain checkdown or not, but he got him a nice cold dose of reality of what it's like to be the coordinator when Alex Smith is at quarterback under center. And it was not pretty. And I'll take it a step further. Our guys weren't getting open. They really weren't. We lack a lot of things offensively. We talk about playmakers and not having enough, But we don't have a lot of situational awareness. Guys need to get out of bounds. They don't. We saw another instance of this week. We saw it last week. We don't understand how to take a 8-yard play and maybe make it break for 78. Like, we don't do the little things correct. And there were a couple of those plays. I'll just tell you this. The very first play of the game versus the Rams on Sunday, when you watch the film, you're going to be pissed off just like I was. The very first play of the game could have went for a 75-yard touchdown if one person does their job. One. Could have gone, if not for 75 and a touchdown, maybe it goes for 27. But I can tell you this much. That first drive is a lot more successful than it was, which was like a 3 or 4 and out. That drive had a chance with a great start. There's no reason that first play of the game couldn't have got us into Rams territory right off the bat. And one guy decided he was going to go rogue and do something else. And he just might not have seen it. It happens, but it seems to happen more to us and the bad teams around the league than it does the good teams in the league. The guys with high football IQ. Anyway, I digress. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't good enough. It simply wasn't good enough. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. I'm just going to tell you that it wasn't just Alex Smith. It wasn't just the offensive line. The receivers weren't good. The running backs weren't good. We simply weren't good as a team offensively in this game. Period. In other news, reportedly, Washington has decided that they're going to start looking at the 2021 crop of quarterbacks and start doing their homework early. So, in case you were one of these people that had ideas of grandeur or you were delusional that maybe Dwayne's not done in Washington. Dwayne's done. And J.P. Finley talks to head coach Ron Rivera every single week. And Rivera is dropping little breadcrumbs, essentially telling you, hey, I'm done with Dwayne. And, JP posed the question, hey, would you trade Dwayne? Could he be a guy that's on the block and potentially moved by the trade deadline? And Ron's like, hey, anything's on the table. If a team calls, we're definitely listening. Translation, hell yeah, we'll trade his ass. And if we get a good enough deal, he's gone. That's what that means. So, the story that the team is already starting that process of looking at 2021 quarterbacks, that's not a surprise. That shouldn't be a surprise to any of you. The minute they benched Dwayne Haskins, that process started that minute. They were already looking into those quarterbacks and trying to figure out which one fits what they want to do best and what are they going to have to do to get that guy. And they don't know right now. And you know what's funny? I refuse to believe this, but the actions that I've seen go contrary to what I believe. And it more sort of leans toward what I've been reading from some of you, which to me is a farce. However, more evidence points to what you're saying than what I'm saying. So I've read a bunch of comments. I told you I read your guys' comments in the comment section. And after this Rams game, and I talked about this on the film breakdown for the Rams first half. And I said, I don't recall you guys being this upset after a loss in quite some time. And, when I made the statement on the film breakdown, I couldn't quite put my finger on why exactly everybody was so up in arms, why they were so frustrated, why they were so mad. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks after I was done. And there are about 3, maybe 4 different factors as to why so many people were mad. Because everyone wasn't mad about the same exact thing. I think number 1 is the fact that we just looked horrible. I think that was the first thing that jumped off the screen, and it gave everyone flashbacks to last year when we were just an abomination of a football team. And I think that struck a chord with a lot of people. I think number 2, there were a lot of people out there that Dwayne Haskins faction of fans that said, Dwayne could have done that shit. Dwayne should still be in. That was bullshit. Dwayne could have done that. Dwayne would have did better than that. And so they were mad. Then you go to number 3, and you look at it from this standpoint, and you've got a bunch of fans that thought that this season could be something. Why? I don't know. But for whatever reason, they thought this team could win 8, 9, 10 games maybe this season. And for some reason, some inexplicable reason, the light bulb finally went off on Sunday in week 5. And they really came to their senses and said, we stink. There's no way we're winning 8, 9, 10 games this season. And so that pissed them off, and they realized it's going to be another funky season, which I tried to warn you beforehand that this team wasn't ready to win anything of note. But that doesn't mean they're not going to compete. And I feel like they've competed every game this season. It may not show up on the scoreboard, but I haven't seen a team that has quit this season. Not a single time. So I think the final thing, though, that struck a nerve with some of you is that there were expectations that this team, coached by Rivera and Jack Del Rio and company, there was going to be this level of discipline with this team, not just from a penalty standpoint, but from mistakes being made, guys being smarter, high football IQ, clock management. All of these things you thought were going to improve, and they haven't. We've been abysmal at it. Clock management, game management, guys being smart, doing things the right way, adjustments being made. All these things have failed us the last couple of weeks in particular. And it's frustrating. And so much so to the point that I've read multiple comments that have said, Rivera's tanking this season, man. You can't see it? He's trying to lose on purpose. And I'm like, no, there's no way. If he wanted to do that, he would have just kept Dwayne in. But then I looked at Sunday's game, and I took it a step back, and I looked at a couple of games this season where we weren't going to win, but the game wasn't over. Like Arizona week 2, we weren't going to win, but the game wasn't over. Rivera didn't use his timeouts. Week 3, the game wasn't over, but we weren't going to win, but he didn't use his timeouts against Cleveland. So then the kitchen starts to get hot. People start questioning him, and he's getting tired of answering those. So he says, okay, I'll start using my timeouts. But I'm going to go for it on 4th down when we should kick a field goal to cut it to a 2-score game. Kind of seems like you want to lose from 4th and goal from the 13 or 11 or wherever the hell they were. And all of a sudden you want to go for it. Just so you could test Dwayne. And then the route combination that you put together is super trash. And you're like, that doesn't really seem like a move that a guy that wants to try to win this game is going to make. Granted, we weren't going to beat the Ravens. Then this week, I'm watching this game, and I'm watching it live, and so are you at home. And we all know Alex Smith is not going to win this football game, and he doesn't give us the best chance. Kyle Allen gives us the best chance to win this game. And it wasn't all bad in the first half. And if you truly want to win this game, you really want to have a shot, you need to put number 8 back in the game. And he was like, nah, I'll leave Alex out there. He's struggling pretty good. I'll let him finish it up. That seems a little iffy too. Like, these decisions that are being made, they don't add up to a guy that's actually trying to win. It seems like a guy that's trying to sabotage the team, if anything else. Now, I don't believe that for 1 minute. We haven't played anybody yet that I thought we should have beaten other than week 1 against Philadelphia. Every other game, I thought we could win, but, and really the only 2 I thought we could win was Arizona and Cleveland. But I didn't think we were the better team necessarily. This is the first week coming up against the Giants where I look at the team and I say, hey, that team is no better than us. At worst, we're evenly matched, which isn't a good thing. That means we both stink. But at least we have a shot because that team isn't demonstratively better than us, like in the past 3 weeks. So when I look at the totality of everything that has happened with this football team over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I see a coaching staff that looks like they're trying to do more to help us lose than win. Now, I don't believe that, but that's what the evidence shows. And it supports some of your theories out there that this team is trying to lose to get better draft standing, which I don't believe. Because, excuse me, if you ask me, the easiest way to 1-15, 2-14, 3-13 is to just leave Dwayne Haskins out there. That to me would have been the easiest way to get to an easier draft pick, a better draft pick. Putting Kyle Allen out there, I think, gives you a better shot to win games. And he may turn it over too, and they may know we're putting a turnover machine in, and he'll give us the best chance to lose games too. They may know something. I don't think that's what they're trying to do, though. I don't think they're after losses. Rivera's already admitted that they're after the short-term gain of winning the division. He's already admitted that. If he weren't sold on trying to win this division, you could have just kept with the same message. To hell with the division. We stink. It's about growth. It's about learning. It's about figuring out who's going to be here next year. He could have kept with that same theme if he wanted to. Some of you may have questioned it. Most of you wouldn't have. But he decided to go in a different direction. So I don't think this is he's trying to tank for fill in the blank. But I can tell you this. They're already doing their homework on the 2021 draft class of quarterbacks, as they should be. And they're going to take a guy in the first round. Whether we end up with the 13th pick in the draft, the 17th pick in the draft, the 21st pick in the draft, the 7th pick in the draft, or the 3rd pick in the draft. We're going to get us a quarterback. Whether we got to trade up for one, whether we take one that falls in our lap, or we get the best pick of the litter because we stink the worst and we have the opportunity to choose whoever the hell we want. I think we're going to get the guy that we want ultimately. Unless the guy they want is Trevor Lawrence and the team that's picking first overall is like, nope, not giving him up. Sorry. Similar to what the Bengals said with Joe Burrow this year. Nope, not interested. We're going to take him. He's a franchise guy. We're going to pass on anybody trying to come up here to get Chase Young or anybody trying to come up here to get Joe Burrow. Not listening. Not entertaining it. Sorry. He's ours. Now, if the right team falls into that situation where they've already got a quarterback and they end up with the number one pick, then the bid is on for Trevor Lawrence. And we may see the biggest haul ever reeled in for a number one overall pick. That's how high the stakes may be to get your hands on Trevor Lawrence. But if I had to put money on how this thing's going to turn out, the team that ends up with the number one pick is going to need a quarterback. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence is in play for us. Because I'm sticking to my guns. We're not going to end up with a top 5 pick. I know a lot of you seem to think that, and you're entitled to that opinion. And we haven't done anything, especially after coming off of last week's game. This is a bullish statement by me because we look like a top 3 pick after last week's game. So this is a bullish statement now that I'm making, that we won't be a top 5 pick. I don't think we'll be a top 7 pick. It wouldn't shock me if we were drafting in the top 10. It wouldn't shock me if we were 8, 9, or 10. I don't see us drafting in the top 7. And I know a lot of you are like, Louie, you are delusional. That's fair. I've been known to be a little bit delusional at times. At times. Now, I already told you, these next few weeks, going to tell the story for me. And this next game against the Giants, this one is massive. Because if we come out and we look the way we did on Sunday, in week 5 versus the Rams, on Sunday in week 6 versus the Giants, oh, okay, yeah, we really do stink. We are absolutely horrid. And this is going to be a long season. For some of you, you're like, it's already going to be a long season. What are you talking about? It's going to be even longer than that. So, which I don't think. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't subscribe to that. You know how I feel. And we'll talk more about that as the week progresses. But 2021 quarterbacks, they're what's popping right now in Washington. So we'll see what they decide to do, what quarterback fits what they want to do, which one of these guys they evaluate and say, this is the guy that's the future of this franchise. And then you know what'll be interesting is how they go about handling that young quarterback when they finally do get their hands on him. Do they just throw him into the fire? Or do they do what the Dolphins are doing with Ryan Fitzpatrick and say, hey, we got a veteran here. You sit and watch. And when your turn comes, we'll let you know. Or do they say, hey, young fella, get in here. Come get these reps. And let's figure this thing out. That's what they did in Carolina with Cam Newton. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I guess it all really depends on just how ready you think that guy is. If it's Trevor Lawrence, he's probably ready day one. If it's Justin Fields, you might be thinking, you could sit a year. It won't hurt for you to sit a year. If it's Trey Lance, you might be thinking, you could sit a year. It won't kill you to sit a year. We'll see. We'll see. Don't sleep on Kyle Trask, the Florida quarterback. I'm just saying, he's going to put up some monster numbers in the SEC this year. He's not Joe Burrow. A lot of people have been comparing him to Joe Burrow in terms of a meteoric rise. I don't see that happening. I don't see him vaulting all the way to number one or even a top 5 pick. But I could see him really helping himself and making himself a viable first-round pick as a quarterback, which I don't think was the case coming into this season. I could see him vaulting himself from maybe a second or a third-round pick, depending on how you like him and where you had him, into the first round. Don't forget about Jamie Newman. I thought that him deciding not to play this year, massive mistake. Now, I don't know what his family situation is. I don't know if he has any underlying issues or he's got family members that have some underlying issues and he didn't want to put them at risk. I understand all of that stuff. But if he just did it because he wanted to be safe, that's fine too. But I thought of all the guys that were looking to advance their draft stock, he was the one that needed to prove that he could do it at a high level the most. And he was going to get a chance to play against some elite competition in the SEC at Georgia. And I thought that was going to elevate his stock and maybe shoot him through the roof. Now I think he's a fringe first. More likely than not, a second-round pick. He's got the body. He's got the mobility, the athleticism, and the arm talent to be a first-round pick. But I don't know if there's enough tape to get this guy to be a first-round pick now. So we'll see. But there'll be plenty of guys to choose from. It just really what will determine what happens is where you land and what you're willing to give up, what you're willing to do to get the guy that you ultimately want to be your signal caller for hopefully many years to come. So we'll see what Washington decides to do. We got a long season ahead of us, though. I don't even like talking about minors, okay? I don't like talking about underage guys. I don't like talking about the college football season when we're in NFL season. It's just not my steed. However, it's the reality of where we are right now. It's the harsh reality. We're back to square one. We need a franchise signal caller. I was hoping we found it. We didn't. So here we are again. Anyway, I digress. Let's get out of here. I'm smiling, and you know why I'm smiling. Kevin. I thank you guys for joining me. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys in the near future. Remember, we'll be live tomorrow night, 8:30 for Washington Football Nightly Live. Look forward to chopping it up with you, talking about the defensive film that I got to watch, and then turning our attention to the Giants, along with taking your comments and having a discussion with you guys as we'll jump into some social media maneuvers tomorrow night. Look forward to that. That should be a ton of fun. Don't forget, we have a game tonight, Bills at Titans, so I will be live post-game for that. So I look forward to chopping it up with you guys there as well. And also got a podcast on Wednesday. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys on that podcast. Remember, that's Social Media Maneuvers on Wednesday. So bring your questions. Come ready. Tomorrow at noon, we'll be chopping it up, talking about the National Football League. Anyhow, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T, and this has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins, good hold, he's got the first down to the 40, he's gone, the 35, the 30, the 20, he's gone, he's gone!